we're back on the same day for another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek today. Right now, we're talking about Star Trek Prodigy episode 16, Preludes.
Is
Preludes.
it 16? I don't know. I don't know what number it is.
15. Episode 15. 16 is Ghost in the Machine. You're absolutely right. So no, it is 16 because because there's hold on. Now I'm Starfleet Boy. It is episode 16. You made me doubt myself.
Okay.
That's a good thing though. We should all doubt ourselves. Sometimes it's a good thing. It's a
guys,
good
guys,
thing.
I'm here all week. Tip your, tip your waitresses.
Hello, Joel, and I think Jill's at a birthday party, so I don't think Jill will be here. So while we give the audience a chance to come in, do you want to do the episode summary for this one, Marcelo, or shall I do it as well?
No, can you please do it? Because this episode kind of just
Totally.
glazed me over. No, but that's not a comment on how the episode was. I just can't do the episode. So
That's all right. That's all right. I got it down. I just watched it. I know you just watched it too, so you can
yeah.
comment. You can help me out if I get things a little confused or if I go on too long. You know, that sometimes happens. but before we get to that, I do want to say that Joel is absolutely right. The flashback pics from Solom are so beautiful. I love the style that they did that in. We can talk more about that if you like, Marcelo. And then the Dreadnoks must have been transforming tables initially. They walked themselves to new locations. After watching this episode a few times, I did notice that Dreadnought doesn't transform into a table because the panels fall off. So he was just hiding in a table. He didn't transform, but he can like he can transform because he does like get bigger and and he's able to like shrink and stuff like that, as we've seen the Dreadnought units do before. I also think that they're all networked because this Dreadnought knew stuff that the other Dreadnought should have known, so it's very interesting. We can talk more about that. So yeah, there's like some kind of networking going on. So I wonder if the Dreadnoughts know where the other Vonnegut are. And then also it is yes, episode 16. And then hi to future Jill. I think future Jill's not here. But tonight, after this episode, we are going to be caught up. And then we'll talk about the latest episode over on Text Track. And then the Starfleet Boy discussion will happen hopefully tomorrow. But let's get back into the subject matter here and do the episode summary. So we are still in the process of repairing the protostar, and while that's happening, Dal's still down on himself, and he's like, my life sucks and stuff like that. And then Gwen quickly reminds him that like, oh yeah, my father's like after me, so how much could your life suck? And then everyone's like, well, everyone's got something about their life that sucks, so we start finding out about all the things that suck in people's lives. And we start with poor Rock Talk, who I think has like one of the saddest stories, like just in general, but like, oh. so so Rock Talk, we find out, used to be a part of like a performance routine in which she had to play a monster, like the role of a monster, literally against a hero, and they would do this like play every night to entertain audiences. And then one day Rock decides to change things up and turns it into a bit of a comedy, and everyone loves it and eats it up. But the guy who was playing the hero, the little ringmaster there, didn't like that, and so just like that, they dismiss Rock Talk, and so then Rock Talk is carried off by the Kazon, and we know the fate is to get to that she'll end up on Tars Lamora. Um, we also found out how Zero got there, and that was heartbreaking too, because Zero was just like a cool little, Medusan hanging out, like discovering, exploring, and things like that, and got lured into this like box, and then also was kidnapped. then we jump to the diviner, and we find out through like some really beautifully done exposition dialogue what happened to get him there and to refresh his memory that he's been, that he's been having a trouble recovering, and he does, and we find out a whole heck of a lot in the diviner's backstory, including where Chakotay is. He's in the future, which I kind of like. I don't know why I thought he was somewhere around, but I guess it makes sense now that I think about it. But yeah, he's in the future. We find out that at some point in the future, the Federation will contact the Vonnegut, and at first, many of them are super excited, including the diviner, to receive them. They're enticed by the opportunity that the Federation seems to represent and is pitching, but not the whole planet, as we already know, doesn't agree on that, and it created a civil war and unfortunately ravaged the planet. So in the dire kind of end days of their civilization, the Protostar shows up along with Chakotay's crew, and they're like, "Oh crap, this is our chance!" So they take the last living construct that this society has created, and they program it to be a weapon and integrate it into the Protostar. And they're like, "Oh yeah, this is great. We're gonna go back in time and stop the Federation from even contacting Solum and ever making first contact," which is an extremely extreme situation. But considering the destruction like that their planet has already experienced, I guess they're like really desperate. But they're foiled by Chakotay and his crew, who send the Protostar back through the anomaly, the temporal anomaly, into the past before the Vonnegut can get on board. And so, in a last ditch effort, the Vonnegut prepare their last 100 ships, their last 100 dreadnoughts, and chase the Protostar back in time. But it's fraught with peril because no one knows what's going on with this temporal anomaly. Apparently, it's unstable or weird or something, and so some of them could be sent back to all kinds of places. I'm totally putting Marcelo to sleep with my summary. Did I put you to sleep?
No, 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 no. I'm sitting here.
Yeah.
I'm
Are
sitting
you
here. I'm
sure?
sitting here wondering, the hell? Wow, a lot happened in this episode that I forgot
Yeah,
about. Like,
right.
holy shit.
My I've been told my voice makes people fall asleep, so who knows? That's my
Yeah.
superpower. But okay, I don't know. I just saw your eyes closed. I was like, uh oh. I should say something before he actually falls asleep.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a long day. So yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you for doing this with me. Um, so yeah, so not everyone survives, but we know that the Essentia, who I don't know what her real name might have been, but she's the Vindicator, and the Diviner do survive. The Vindicator arrived 3 years ago, whereas the Diviner arrived 20 years ago. So he's been doing all this crazy stuff
It
on
was like a
on
she like went through like a Nero situation. If you think about it,
or oh yeah,
like
like
yeah,
oh
yeah,
uh,
yeah, because she said, when she went through the portal, she arrived first, right? So you know, so
no, the
or no,
divine. Well, I don't know if she arrived first, but she arrived just 3 years ago, whereas the diviner
right,
arrived 20 years ago.
20 years
So
ago.
technically,
So
the diviner arrived
and it would be
first. Yeah,
yeah, the diviner would be Nero, and then yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And she's
yeah. I don't
Spock.
know. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the hell I was trying to do with that. But sorry, go. But
No, but
onward.
it
You
is a
know.
very interesting and similar. I see the parallel. But anyways, so she apparently arrived 3 years ago, and she decided to attach herself with someone who was looking for the protostar just as much as she was, which is our Vice Admiral Janeway. And so she infiltrated Starfleet, as well as got herself a position on the Dauntless. But anyways, so then the Diviner finally remembers himself, and he's back to being his nasty, angry self. And I love John Noble's performance. By the way, you can hear the transformation from this like kind and kind of concerned diviner to like the angry, like like I'm on a mission, like dead set type of person
Yeah, I don't.
that he is.
I don't think a lot of people give John Noble credit for his vocal performance. I mean, I'm a big John Noble fan from Fringe, and an actor of his caliber can go those places. He can be really really soft, and he can be really disarming. But on a dime, he can turn to being really menacing and really terrifying if he wants to. And I think he's shown both sides of his range as an actor with the Diviner.
Yeah, he's wonderful. He's a wonderful performer. I especially love his performance of Denethor, the Steward of Gondor in the Return of the King movie. He's
Oh
awesome in
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. That's the guy that tried to burn his son alive, and then he ends up jumping off his own kingdom because he accidentally got set on fire. So
He was a good guy until that
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Palantir and the
yeah,
menace of Sauron.
yeah,
So
yeah. He went crazy.
sadly, he went nuts.
He went
Uh,
nuts.
but there is a singularity to the Diviner that reminds me of Denethor's kind of singular vision of what needs to be. And I hope, unlike Denethor, that the Diviner doesn't come to a sad end, even though that's what Marcelo
Oh,
is
that oh
is
oh oh
is,
oh
is,
that guy gonna die. He gonna die. He gonna
no.
die a horrible death.
No. Anyways, I'm glad that after this heavy, crazy shit, and also finding out what the heck's been going on, lovely to get the prelude. Haha, I did it again on that. Um, we do get then go back to the kids, and then we find out Jankum Pog's story, and how he ended up at Tars Lamora as well. And then the kids delightfully ask Janeway, Hollow Janeway, about her backstory, and she like drops a mention of Molly, Janeway's dog. So that was really cute. But then we get back to the Dauntless, and Vice Admiral Janeway has been doing this investigation, and she's just like sees this wanted thing that Commander Tysus gives her about the kids, and she's like, "Who's this diviner guy?" And then she's like, seeing that Gwen kind of is on the roster and tying it all together, and then she decides to go and confront the diviner and see if he knows anything, and he knocks her out, and she's unconscious, and I am so worried about what is happening to Janeway.
Oh, she'll be fine.
I'm
She'll be
so worried
fine.
about her. I know she'll be
Does
fine, but
it
I'm still worried.
does it bother you at all that I don't know what made you think of this, but does it bother you at all that Janeway didn't perhaps think of, oh, I'm gonna go looking for Chakotay. I should have some people I know working with me. Does it bother you at all that Tom isn't on the ship or Harry's not on the ship?
I think that I think it's actually a really good question. That's a great question, and I'll tell you my answer is I like the idea. The original series crew, they worked with each other for like an insane amount of time. But if you'll remember, by Star Trek: The Motion Picture, they'd kind of gone off on their
Yeah,
own
on
things,
their
and
own
then they all
adventures.
came back to on their own adventures, and they all kind of came back together. Like Spock was getting Kolinar and like stuff like that. And I think that's the kind of place where we're at right now. Because ironically, Captain Kirk was also a vice admiral at the time, or a rear admiral. I don't remember if he was a vice admiral or a rear admiral, and I don't know the difference. I'm sorry, but but anyways, I think he was like a rear admiral or a vice admiral at the time as well. And so he was off doing his own thing, and it wasn't till the motion picture that he came back together, and this was only like a few years basically between the animated series and then. But I get the impression that that's the thing too. But I also kind of like it because I was like kind of it's kind of like a realistic thing. Like I don't think crews stay together for like 30 years, typically. I think it
No, I
happens,
mean,
but it's just not the typical kind of
no,
experience.
no, I mean the next gen crew, and we're gonna start talking about Prodigy in a second here. I promise, guys. But the next gen crew was together for what, 20 years? More
No,
than
they
20
were
years?
together for 7 plus whatever amount of years, from
The movie, so
generations
seven,
to maybe another,
seven,
what, 10.
yeah, yeah. So that's
Yeah, I guess you're right.
yeah,
20. You said 20 years. So yeah, they
yeah.
were
I said 20,
together
about
for
20.
about close to that much. We don't know how long the Voyager crew stuck together though, when after they came home either. And I would
Mm,
imagine after being cooped up for
Oh
7
hell
years
no!
in
They
the
wanted to
same
get the hell
ship.
away from each
They
other.
wanted to like, yeah, they wanted like a little space, and we know a little bit about what happens, right? Like Seven tried to get into Starfleet, and she ends up. So we know Seven's story, but I have a feeling that either on this show, or this possible next show with Admiral Janeway in it somehow involved,
Yeah, right.
we'll get a lot more of that stuff. But yeah, I kind of like the fact that personally I like that we're not, that they're not all still serving together, because
Okay, okay,
it like makes more sense to me, even though I like all of them together as well.
all right.
you know?
No, I know. No. The whole reason why I wanted to see them all together serving on Janeway's
Dauntless.
ship is because I want the Dauntless. I wanted to see Kim finally get his promotion
I
because
heard something on the internet that I really want to be real, and I'm not going to be upset if it's not real. But there's this like conflict between Admiral Janeway and Admiral Jellicoe. Like they're just having a
yeah.
little disagreement or whatever, a
Mm-hmm.
little difference of opinion, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
What if Harry's like above them? He's like a proper full admiral, and he
That's
steps in and
interesting.
makes like a decision, and that's how we
Yeah,
get Harry
a
Kim back.
majority decision.
Yeah, like a deciding factor there. So I would love for that to be the case, but I don't know if that will be the
Yeah,
case. And again, like it's just a wild internet theory, so
yeah.
I'm
We have
not
no
gonna
idea.
hold. Yeah, we don't know. I'm not gonna hold my breath if that doesn't happen. But it is funny to think about that, or I would either appreciate that or that Kim is still an ensign. it's
But come on, dude.
it's one
Come
or the other.
on.
I don't want anything in between. Don't
Look,
we get a
look.
Captain Harry Kim in Voyager in that alternate?
Yeah, we do. We do.
Yeah,
We do. Yeah, but the thing, look. But the thing about, look, I swear to God, we're gonna start talking about Prodigy in a
that's
second.
okay. It's okay. It's these
The-
tangents are fine.
yeah, the thing about Voyager, look, Voyager is like an awesome bowl of ice cream. But the problem is, once you finish the bowl of ice cream, it resets and you get more ice cream. You don't get a chance to, you don't get any progression with Voyager because everything resets at the end. So that's why it would have been really nice to see Harry Kim get his due and get a promotion. So, but
I think it
that's
would be very nice too, especially, yeah. Harry's a cool character, and a lot of people don't want him to just be an
language.
ensign still. Yeah. So what do you think of this episode, Marcelo?
Uh, it was good. It was good. Not as good as the last one that we talked about because I think I like the last one that we talked about a lot more. But I thought this episode was pretty cool. We got a lot of stuff on the diviner. We got that amazing cliffhanger at the end. We learn more about the kids. We learn where Jenkinpop got his desire to fix everything. I thought that was cool. Jenkinpop, you'll fix it, Jenkinpop. That constant like fix this. Those scenes of him going completely bananas trying to fix everything reminded me of O'Brien on Deep
Oh
Space
yeah,
Nine.
there's a little bit of that, isn't there?
O'Brien, fix this one thing, and then Cisco will call him here, or Kira will call him here. So Jenkin Pop's story in this episode reminded me a lot of O'Brien's story in Deep Space Nine.
Jankum Pog must suffer.
There you go. O'Brien must suffer. See,
Joel in the audience says Admiral should knock before going into someone's quarters. It's probably true. Everyone
you
should knock
think?
before going into someone's quarters. Nice to see you, Donnie, in the audience. And Donnie reminds us that Kirstie Alley passed away this week. We also lost the actor who played Bob on Sesame Street. So yeah, a couple in memoriams there. But yeah, Kirstie Alley, that was sad. I think she was too young. I don't know, what to really say. She was a person who was in my life throughout my whole life, like from Cheers to Star Trek, and she's definitely a person that has been in our media for a long, long time, and it's sad that she passed away fighting cancer. So yeah,
Mm.
cancer sucks. We were talking about
Yeah,
genetics earlier, so that would be
we
a
were.
great use of genetic
Segue.
technology. Yeah, is to help us get rid of cancer. So yeah.
No, I think the first time that I ever saw Chrissy Alley was in Star Trek, and then later on
Yeah,
in her
I
life,
mean, I think I saw her in Cheers first, but yeah, it
right,
might have been the same.
I had the reverse experience later on in life. I saw her in Cheers, but I think she was a really really cool Vulcan. I to be honest, I really think that she got done dirty by her representation, and I think that her representation went to Paramount with a unreasonable offer, and that's what caused Paramount to go in another direction. Like I
Yeah.
don't like
She was
I
doing
don't
something really interesting with the character, I thought, and it would definitely have been nice to see her continue. But at the same time, I will just say that Robin Curtis is an awesome Savick. So the way history turned out actually turned out all right
which is
because
fine, right? It was
yeah,
just fine.
which is fine. But it would have been nice, yeah. But Kirstie Alley ain't sweating it. She made a lot of great hits. I feel like in the
Yeah.
'80s and '90s, and she definitely had a good career. But
She had a good
uh,
run.
she had a good run exactly. So I may or may not have agreed with her views on politics, but I still thank her for entertaining me and being
Mhm,
wonderful in
mhm.
that capacity. All right, so back to this episode. Let's start with Rock Talk Story. Because I want to go into like the vignettes a little bit and touch on them a little bit. Like, what did you think, like, as far as like the backstories of these characters, expectations versus what we finally got? Like, what did you feel about Rock's story and like how her background
Um,
was?
Rock's story was cool. I mean, she was basically a willing slave, a willing participant into this gladiator competition where every night she got an opportunity to have fun and exercise. But the thing is, for most of her captivity with this guy, she was the heavy. So it was really cool at the end of her vignette to see her, or to see it. I don't know what it is, um, stand up for itself and say, "No, I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm tired of being the heavy. For once, I want to be the hero." It's just really a shame that the one time that she stood up for herself, that was the one incident that caused her to end up where she ultimately ended up.
Yeah, totally. Rock's story is like really sad, but you know what's funny is that Rock's been through a lot and it only makes her kinder. And I think that's really wonderful. And I think that's like a good lesson as well because
Mm.
it was cool that like we find out why Rock Talk doesn't like violence and stuff like that. But it was really sad to see that like this guy the hero quote unquote would turn on her just because of this. Like she took the limelight for one, like this guy is a piece of work. I mean, she took the limelight away just for a moment and actually improved the act. It's definitely more interesting than seeing this like thing night after night. I think I think Rock did a good job, and stuff like that. But we find out why Rock Talk likes the Nutrigoop, like the food. And that was sad too that he like deprived her of like a full bowl of Nutrigoop when he wasn't happy. It just like bothers me. Like I didn't like that at all. But but it was good to find that out about the past. I also liked these were all little vignettes and each one had like a different tone. Did you notice that like during Rock Talk's flashback, like the colors were like a certain different tone, like a muted kind of look to them, and like during each flashback or prelude, if you will, had like a different kind of like vibe, which I really liked, or
I
at least that felt like that way to me. And it
that that to me kind of went over my head, but it wouldn't surprise me that the Prodigy writers put a visual cue in there for eagle-eyed viewers such as yourself to notice that. But to be honest, when I saw this episode, that kind of just flew over my head, unfortunately.
Oh, I totally forgot this. Tara points out, I don't think the hero turned on her. I thought he felt bad that she got sold by the bullion owner who turned on her. Oh. What did I miss? All right, now I gotta go watch the.
Sounds like we missed something here.
I gotta go back and watch the episode. I missed the Bolian. Don't get mad at me, Bolian fans.
Mhm.
Yeah, it looks like the knight was a slave too. Okay, I didn't realize that. For some reason in my head, this is why it's important to talk about these episodes and rewatch them.
Mhm.
It's been 2 weeks, and I thought this whole time that he was the main owner of the owner of the show and the act and
Mm,
everything like that.
That's
So
what I
thanks.
thought.
Why did I miss that? How did I miss that?
That's what I
Lazy
thought. I don't
viewer.
know.
I'm a lazy viewer.
You want you want to talk about a lazy you want to talk about a lazy viewer? We'll talk offline, and then I'll show you what a lazy viewer really is like.
A lazy viewer really is like, oh wow. I'm afraid of this conversation. But yeah, that is
No,
a good
you'll
point.
get yeah, you'll get a good laugh out of it.
That is a good point. There's another good reason to go and watch the episode again, but also that these stories in general are very there's a lot of stuff going on, so you gotta sometimes watch it a few times if you're missing stuff like I
Mm-mm. Oh,
did. The Night 8 Goop, obviously not the owner. That's how you could tell. I don't know. NutriGoop could be delicious. Who knows? Like, also,
NutriGoop reminds me of that snot consistency substance in the Matrix that they were eating. Like like do you remember that white bowl of goop
oh, that stuff.
that
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
that mouse
And like
poured
how they poured
everybody
it out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. I
the
remember that now.
machine?
Right on. Very nice.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, definitely not a good situation. Rock has had like, and then remember, we don't know how long Rock was caught in that temporal anomaly either. So there's a lot going on
Oh
there.
yeah, that's right. I forgot about the anomaly too. See, I forget everything too. So we're cool.
Tara points out NutriGroup made me think of Porridge and Oliver Twist. Oh, it's true. And they're all orphans too. Well, it looks like Zero had a family, but was orphaned by being taken. So yeah, um, yeah, super super sad. After Rock Talk's story, was there anything else you wanted to talk about Rock Talk's story before we move on?
No, we can move on. I'm
All right,
pretty much done.
Um, so after Rock Talk story, we get Zero's story, and I thought this was really cool. They had that Medusan ship design, I think that we've seen or heard about, which kind of looks like a Federation-y ship with like a dome on it and stuff like that, and it can land apparently. But they're just exploring this cool world out there somewhere. And then Zero talks about how he was free back then, and or they were free back then, and like they didn't even have to talk, they could just like be, and I thought that was a really neat way of describing what was going on. But it reminded me a lot of that sequence reminded me a lot of ET. You know how ET goes off and tries to explore something, and then he's about to get caught by the Keys and like the other
The
scientists, and
key
then
man.
yeah, he's who's referred to as just Keys, I think. Anyways,
Yeah.
he ET's running back to the ship, and it's too late. The ship already took off because the danger was already too great, and they couldn't just wait for ET. And it was a very similar looking kind of or similar vibe to Zero. Race trying to. Well, he didn't even race back to his ship. Unfortunately, he got. Well, yeah, he did, and then he got caught. So yeah, it was very sad to see that. What did you think of that whole sequence?
No, Zero. Zero's story was really sad and really affecting, and it was really heartbreaking when they caught him and they put him in the robotic shell. It was just really really bad. It was really sad that
The
uh
box, yeah, the
the
Medusan box.
yeah, it was really sad that there are people in this world that would willingly take advantage of something really really cool because they just want to have it, and they don't really think about the consequences of how that individual thing, if it's a cat or if it's a child in worst case scenario, they don't really think about what their choices have on the person that they're exploiting. So I think in this episode, I think the undercurrent thing about this episode was what exploitation does to people, and what and what can happen to people who are put under extremely stressful situations like Jenkinpop was in this episode. If it wasn't for him, everybody on his ship would have died. So in a way, he sort of sacrificed himself for everyone else on his ship.
Not in a way. That's exactly what he did. And then he was like trying to tell the
Yeah,
robot, like,
yeah,
"Oh,
that's
hey,
exactly
remember?"
what he did. There you
Like,
go.
tell them who I am. And then and the robot's like, "State your name." So, I think the other Tellarites might figure it out. By the way, just a note. We'll get to Jankum in a second, but just a note on that story. They were all orphans. Apparently, this is pre-Federation. So Jankum and a group, so the Tellarites would send orphans out to explore the galaxy, I guess. Like, and he must have been found relatively recently because, or he must have been awoken relatively recently, like somewhere in the last like worst case scenario 20 years, but probably like more like in the last 5 years or something like that. So these Tellarite ships with orphans in hibernation are still floating out around out there. Like, so that's kind of interesting. I wonder if the Tellarites have a plan to go and collect them or find them, or what the deal is with the orphan vessels. And I wonder if we'll get more information on that. It's an interesting idea. Let's before we go back to Janka. Well, actually, let's talk about Janka. Let's go to Janka. What else did you like about that sequence?
I really like that Jenkum, that we really understood where key parts of Jenkum's personality came from by dealing with this situation. Because, like I hinted at a couple of seconds ago before we sort of got off track here, Jenkum gets to a point where he feels the need to fix everything on the ship. So as he takes care of one thing, the robot or the machine on the ship says, okay, now you fix this. Now you got to do this, and this. And that to me, like I said before, was very indicative of the engineer that has suffered most in Starfleet history, without a doubt. Thank you, Irish Stephen Bear. Poor Miles O'Brien. So Jenkum's situation and everything that he went through while trying to repair the pods on his ship, for me, just screamed Miles O'Brien, and just screamed, Miles O'Brien must suffer, or in this case, Jenkum must suffer.
Jankum Pog must suffer. Real quick, back to the Zero story for a second. Yes, the visuals were extremely beautiful. I love that like cricket alien and just the landscape and like the stars in the background. You could see like the arm of one of the arms of the Milky Way in the
Milky
sky,
Way and stuff like that.
and stuff like that is very cool. I imagine that's the Milky Way. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I don't think the Medusans travel outside of our galaxy yet.
They
um,
could.
but they could. It's true. Um, yeah, I really thought that the Jankum sequence was really funny. I like that he uses this percussive maintenance, philosophy. Just hitting things like it does pretty much kind of work. um, oh yeah, Tara. I guess we'll just bounce back and forth. But yeah, the Venus flytrap beastie was pretty cool as well. I thought that was neat. Um, but yeah, mostly I was just really curious about the Tellarites. We don't know a lot about them, considering they're a founding member of the Federation. I feel like we're starting to learn a lot more about Tellarites in this show, and it's really exciting. I think I'd be curious to hear what Larry Nemechek, who's the biggest Tellarite stan I've ever like met, like he
You know,
like, thinks about
one
that.
thing, that I'm finding as we've been talking about Prodigy for most of the afternoon. I think that I have found my way into the show, and I think my way into the show is to focus
It's
on
cool.
the deeper meanings and the psychological meanings of everything that the writers are making these characters go through, or these kids go through. And I think that's my way into the show. And I think that's the way that I'm going to really learn to appreciate the show for what it is. And that's going to be my latching on point, the emotional toll that these characters go on. And if I hold on to that, I can overlook all the stuff that doesn't connect with me because of my age.
I think it's funny that you still think it's overall the tone is like for a much younger audience
No, but
because it's true. You're right. It doesn't
just
like
for me,
it won't. I don't think the show will cross a threshold that like modern dramas do ever. But I like that. I like that it's an all ages kind of
yeah,
experience. And but I do think that it's wonderful to hear you say that like you
I
are
found it.
finding things, yeah, that
I found
are
it.
connecting to you because that makes me happy just because I like to have discussions with you. And, you know, if we're going to talk about Prodigy, that means you might be interested in showing up. So it'll be cool. So that's awesome. Um, anything else about the Jankum story? And the audience also loved the comments. Thank you,
uh,
Tara, Donnie, and Joel. I had to go back to work, but you know,
mm,
if you have any other things that we want to talk about, what did you think of the? So again, sorry, this was my thing. Going back to Tellarites, they had like pre-Federation, they had robots already, like droids that
robot,
kind of like what are you laughing at? The way I say robot?
robots.
Robots.
But go ahead,
I say it like
robots.
Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers always said robot, and so it stuck with me since I was a little kid.
Oh, he did.
Uh,
Okay,
yeah, he says robot.
I didn't
Robot.
know
I
that.
think it's a Midwestern thing. I'm not sure if if by any chance Aaron Walkey's there at. Do you say robot or robot? let me let me know. Oh yeah, the what did you the toilet malfunction? Jankum won't fix that, but he ends up doing it anyways. Poor thing.
Yeah,
Also, why was the toilet malfunction? It had to be Jankum, right? Like there's no one else awake
yeah, yeah.
on the
That's a really really good point. Why would that happen? Who used it? They're all suspended in in suspended animation. So who used it? That's a really good point that I didn't consider until now.
So Jankum was just clean. That's why he ends up doing it because he had to do it. He was like, it was his own thing. Oh, cool. Tara says that they asked Aaron Walkie about that. Yeah, if you find the tweet, I guess tweet it at me. If do we follow each other on Twitter? I'm not sure. But
So wait, so Aaron Welke is the lead writer in the writers' room, or is he just helping the writer, all the writers in general? Is he
head
like
writer and co-showrunner with the Hageman brothers.
okay, so he's in tandem with the Hageman brothers who created the show. Okay,
Yep, yep,
all right.
yep. And I believe they worked together on Troll Hunters before. So, have
Ah,
you seen
cool.
that show by any chance?
No,
I started
no.
watching it. It's pretty good. I love animation, so I try to watch it as much as I can. Let's see.
I also love animation, but I tend to go towards more adult skewed animation like Rick and Morty stuff like that.
When is Invincible coming back? Isn't that was what that show's called, right? I love that
Yeah,
show.
yeah. I have no idea when it. But the boys spinoff had a trailer the other day. I don't know if you've seen it.
This is the answer to why the toilet was clogged. It wasn't Jankum. It was root intrusion from the terrarium. That made
Oh.
sense also. By the way, that happens in real life. Sometimes plants will grow through your toilet.
And and sometimes other things will come up from the from come up your pipes that'll lead to your toilet that will bite your ass like a
Oh
snake or
my gosh.
something.
I don't want to think about it, Marcelo. But that's true. The alligators in the sewers, right?
If you live in Texas, who knows? We should we should ask Father about that. I was like, have you ever had like a visitor come in your house from an interesting location?
Tara wants to know if Marcelo is a New Yorker, and the answer is yes.
Yes,
He's a
yes, I
he's
am.
very New Yorker. He's like
Yeah,
I would call you a typical New
yeah,
Yorker, Marcelo.
I'm one of those. Yeah, yeah, I am a New Yorker, but at least I'm not from Jersey. If I was from Jersey, that would be
Wow.
really bad.
There are urban legends about rats in the toilets here. I've never seen it myself. Ah! I don't want to. I don't want to think about that. Oy.
And of course,
Marcelo, we have to talk online. I'll be in New York
yes,
this month. We have to
cool.
try to hang out or meet up. It would be cool.
And of course, there's also the urban legend about the mole people in the sewers. That was another thing. That was like a early '90s thing that there were mole people. in the shoe.
Don't tell us your opinion about Long Island. That's where Tara's from.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to lose her
I'm
on the
sorry.
on
I'm sorry. I don't know.
To hear
Yeah,
Marcelo's opinions
yeah.
about Long Island, you
Sorry.
can go to his podcast, The Red Wall.
There's
Sorry,
a,
go ahead.
but seriously, but seriously, I'll just put it. But there's a reason why I have a problem with New Jersey. There's a reason why.
Okay,
I don't,
okay.
I don't hate New Jersey just to hate New Jersey. There's a really specific reason why I don't like Jersey.
Interesting. I'll be sticking around after the stream to find out some more about this. Uh, okay, so this puts Jankum at being technically over 100 years old.
Oh,
And then we don't even know how old Zero is. Like what I mean, are Medusans like,
but
you
but
know,
but what since Zero's a Medusan, does her age really matter? She's like well,
it's interesting
wouldn't
the
she?
genders you assign to certain characters. Like,
No, because no. Here's the thing. I don't. When it comes to stuff like that, I don't think the way that like you would think, or I don't think the way that a person like an LGBT person would think, because I don't automatically think, oh, I need to say these things. Yeah, I just don't think that way. If I insult someone, I'm sorry, but I don't. My brain doesn't work like that.
it's good that you know your biases, but also I don't think they've stated Zero's gender, so that's why I just default to they, because
Right.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure we know what Zero's gender are. They
Mhm.
present masculine to me, but it's interesting that they present feminine to
Right.
you. That's very cool. That's interesting.
Right. No,
Um,
and also the voice too. That's to me that voice is the voice of a female. So that's why I tend to go that way more.
do you know who does the voice though? It's Angus Imrie. It's a male
Oh,
performer.
okay. Well, see,
There we go.
again, again, I don't
Learn
want to, I don't want to,
learning stuff.
learn stuff.
Learning stuff on on the Starfleet voice streams.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going behind the eight ball here, but okay.
You're totally fine.
Yeah.
The well, I don't know if I can say you're totally fine, but you're okay for now.
Thank you. Yeah. The universe knows that I am nowhere near totally fine.
Donnie says hello, and from a native Oklahoman in Western Washington. Oh, Donnie, I forget that you're in Washington. I love living
Hey,
in Seattle, and also,
Oklahoma.
yeah, it looks like Tara's gonna go to Seattle next
Woo!
summer too. Yeah, actually, Tara, if you think you're going to Seattle next summer, because of the
Isn't
Star Trek
Conan?
convention, I think it got
Yeah,
canceled. I don't know if there's
it
anything
did.
official that came out yet from
It did.
the.
Rachel said that she almost bought tickets, and she was so happy that she didn't because it got canceled.
I don't think the tickets were on sale yet because I would have bought them right away. But yeah, I was gonna buy tickets, and then I don't think it even went. Here, let's just do a quick look on. I think it was still saying like Mission Chicago the last time I looked at their website. Let's see here. Yep, if you Google it, it still says, oh, no, I forgot about this. I guess I was traumatized. After careful consideration, unfortunately, the decision has been made to not move forward with the Star Trek Mission Seattle event in 2023. We're working
Because
on new ways to bring our favorite Star Trek fans the optimum experience, and we look forward to celebrating together again in the future. So, yeah, that's the thing. But alas, oh, you're going for Joni. So I'm glad you're not disappointed. You're going to the Gorge. I know the Gorge. Oh my gosh. See Joni Mitchell. Joni Mitchell's gonna play at the Gorge. That's insane. That's very cool. I love Joni Mitchell. Very cool. Um, Tara, let me know what your handle is on Twitter because you sound cool. I will follow you.
I cannot,
Okay.
I cannot
Uh,
tell you how many people from our streams follow me, and I have no idea who they are. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
that's like
guys.
a that's how it is sometime on Twitter. Like Twitter's an
Yeah,
interesting
yeah,
place and
and
experience. You can
especially
be
now.
anonymous. Yeah, especially now. We're not gonna get into that.
No, of course not. Yeah, yeah.
We're not going
I'll
to get
just
into that.
yeah. I'll just say that I support the new Twitter ownership. I'll just say that.
Excellent. Wait.
Excellent.
Oh, I I disagree. Sorry, I heard something different. I
No,
heard you
no,
say
okay.
don't. I
No,
disagree,
no,
sir.
no, no. I said
You know
no, no,
why?
no.
Here,
I
I'm gonna go on
said
a quick little rant. I'm just gonna go on a quick little rant. I pay for the gosh darn Twitter Blue service because I post
why did
longer
you do
videos.
that?
And I use some of the features
Oh,
that are
can
there,
I
and I've been paying for it way before you could get the stupid little blue check mark, and then everyone's making a big deal about the blue check mark. But meanwhile,
it's $20,
Marcelo,
right?
no, it's not that expensive. It's like it used to be like $3 and they raised it to like $7 or something
Can
like
I
that. But
can I ask you a
yeah,
question? If, when you're under the blue check mark, can you schedule events from your mobile phone? Can
I
you
feel
schedule
like you
tweets?
always
Can can
could
can you
do
can you
that.
schedule tweets from your mobile phone?
I don't think you could. No, I think scheduling is only still a desktop feature as
Damn it,
far as I
Elon,
know.
fix that.
Anyways, I pay
Sorry.
for this thing and I can't change my display name because the new owner that you approve of had a hissy fit because people were changing their display name to Elon Musk. So now, because I pay for the service and I have that stupid blue check mark,
I
I have
know.
turkey corn avatar like
I'm
emojis
sorry.
in my name forever. It's
I'm
the
sorry.
holidays and I want to put a menorah.
Dude.
I want to put like a Christmas tree in there and I cannot change my name from turkey corn. So I might
Dude.
have to unsubscribe just to change my name.
Dude, when I noticed you were going through that, I listen, I love you, but I was like, dude, I was like, dude, see, that's what he gets for changing his Twitter things so many times. I'm like, that's what he gets.
What do you mean? That's like something if I could ever change it again, I'm just going to make it plain and
Yeah,
not worry
like
again because I'm
Starfleet
so
boy. It's just
traumatized now uh,
yeah.
about this.
But I'm sorry.
The other thing is if I don't have those stupid status things, like I can't put hot take like everyone else can and
Oh,
all these
really?
things. So I don't know what I'm paying for Twitter
Wow.
Blue for.
What are you paying
Uh,
for?
yeah, I'm kind of upset. So yeah, the end of rant.
We should get back to Star Trek here and stop talking about the new
Yes,
owner.
yes. Back to Star Trek. Well, maybe on Starfleet Boy After Dark we could have go down that rabbit hole another
Yeah,
time.
sure. I mean, I mean, of all our friends, I'm the guy that is kind of cool with the new owner most because there's a lot of people in our friend group that don't like him at all. So,
Yeah. Uh, Tara points out that have you checked out Hive? It's small and growing. I am on Hive. You can find me there as well. I'm also on Discord. I'm also on
are you on
Mastodon.
Mastodon?
Yeah, I'm also on Mastodon. So you can
Cool.
find Starfleet Boy, TikTok, all the things. So you can find Starfleet Boy anywhere.
And he's also on OnlyFans too.
I actually do have an OnlyFans account that doesn't do anything.
I
But I'm
know.
thinking of I don't know what just to like pre let everyone know there's not going to be any nudie stuff on my
No, you
OnlyFans,
know
but I'm
what?
trying to figure out a way to do something really clever
You know
with
what
my
you should do?
OnlyFans account.
You
Yeah.
should since you like take like wedding for like since you do photography things, you should like sell some of your photos on there. Like if you take like landscapes of things.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. I feel like their OnlyFans is more about like since it's a Starfleet Boy name, it'll be Star Trek things that I don't know. I'll figure it out. But right now it's kind of a dormant thing. But that reminds me, that that yeah, the one of the good things about this whole situation is that folks are discovering there are other social media platforms that you can go and engage with your favorite people or subjects or things like that. So it's not the end of the world if you don't like Twitter. There's other
No.
places, and I happen to spend most of my time on Twitter just because
Yeah.
that's kind of like the
Yeah.
platform that I became most familiar with. But yeah,
Yeah, I love Twitter. I'm a ride or die Twitter guy.
do you
I I remember the night that everybody thought that Twitter was gonna burn to the ground. I was like, guys, I'll be here putting the fire out while the building is burning. So
there's
when you
a
guys, no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
there there was a real danger. I have a lot of friends to work at Twitter. So there was
Yeah,
actually
that's
a real
right.
danger of that
Yeah.
happening because the servers were producing a lot of glitches and errors because
Right, right, right.
the maintenance wasn't there. But yeah, again,
Yeah,
let's move
I know.
on. Carry on.
Yeah, I know.
Marcelo
Carry
was right,
on.
everyone. Marcelo
No,
was
I was
right.
wrong.
It's like
Carry on, carry on, carry on.
let's talk about the diviner and the Vonnegut. So we're here on the final run, the last 4 or 5 episodes of Prodigy season 1, and we finally get the whole kind of story. Well, a lot of the story, I should
It's
say.
about time.
It's about them. Um,
It's about damn time.
so what did you think of all of that stuff, and how did you feel about the way it was shown through the different animation style and the illustrations and stuff?
It was cool. It was a very very medieval way of showing, the history of what these people went through and what Starfleet ultimately didn't do, and because of that Starfleet ended up being the bad guy. It reminded me of a lot um of a lot of instances in American history when America had the opportunity to intervene in a conflict, and because they didn't do that, a civilization was wiped out, or war broke out in a specific place because America didn't step in and stop
Or
something from
sometimes because we did step in,
right.
it
That's true.
creates the situation. It's like not
That
knowing when and when not to.
that's true. That's true. But I thought, I thought learning about the primary conflict, about why the diviners people hate Starfleet, and why he wants to, essentially drive a stake through Starfleet's heart and wipe them off the face of the earth, was really cool. I was really hoping that the diviner was from the Kelvin timeline, but I think that ship has, come and gone and sailed. But for the most
Has
part, I
it?
thought it was,
Has it though? We don't know
yeah,
where that the anomaly goes to
maybe,
the future, but the future where? And the anomaly came to the past, but the past where? Like,
maybe,
what if the
maybe.
big what if the big thing is they find out that, oh, actually we're
It
not
is
even
a
in the
come.
right dimension. But anyways, I don't think that's the case. I actually think
No,
it's been confirmed many times over that we don't have any Kelvin infiltration
stuff.
in the story.
No, but but in closing, but it was just really nice how the writers chose to unfurl the the storyline of essentially the bad guys in the first season of Star Trek Prodigy here.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting too. I think there's still more to the story, a little bit more to the story. Like I'd like to see, somewhere down the line, maybe, why exactly the Federation didn't want to help out the Vonnegut once they went to Civil War. Like, just some of the particulars of that. Maybe we'll get to see the first contact from the Federation perspective at some point. But what was interesting about this episode is like, I get really confused with the temporal timey-wimey stuff in Star Trek. I don't know why I don't get confused in Doctor Who, but I get confused
You
in
know
Star
why?
Trek. So
You know why?
why?
I'll tell you why.
Why? Okay,
In
tell me
Doctor
why.
Who, in Doctor Who is gobbledygook. In Star Trek, Star Trek's gobbledygook is gobbledygook that requires your attention. In Doctor Who, the gobbledygook is gobbledygook for gobbledygook's sake. It doesn't require your. It's not that difficult to figure out, and it's time travel that kind of doesn't make sense.
Well, I'm a huge Doctor Who fanatic, and I've seen a lot of
I know
Doctor Who, and
that.
I will argue that that's
All right,
incorrect,
fine, fine,
especially,
fine.
especially, especially by the 11th Doctor. But on the surface, you're absolutely right. The Doctor and the
Right?
TARDIS, like
Yeah,
they don't really like. Yeah,
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 but
it's a little
yeah, but
different. The
yeah,
way it's handled is
yeah,
a little different. We're
y-
always in the time traveler's perspective, and then from that
yes,
perspective, it's different from seeing time travel from the perspective of non-time travelers. So I
yes,
think it
yes,
is
yes.
different. But good point. Yeah, you're absolutely right about I think that like I think Star Trek has always handled temporal stuff really well. Don't get me wrong. Like I think it's all it's all good. I'm just saying I was confused and I continue to get confused about like when the protostar was launched, when the protostar went back in time, where Chakotay is, and all
No,
that stuff. And I feel like
the
this
other
episode
thing,
finally cleared up a lot of that stuff for
the
me.
other thing, the other thing that I think Star Trek does very, very well, and I think that Tex Trek said this one time. Star Trek is really, really, really good at telling time travel in a really, really interesting way. Even if it doesn't really all work, the concepts that they they raise in different Star Trek series and different Star Trek movies, and the way they handle time travel in itself is fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. We got a question. Starfleet Boy, I think we're supposed to be confused because there are still a lot of unanswered questions. I agree. That is definitely a factor in
Also,
it.
yeah. Also, I'm sorry to cut you off again, but
No,
also,
please. We don't
I
mind
think
interruptions.
yeah, I think the reason why Starfleet didn't intervene when they should have, I think it's for a political reason. Like what what political reason it could be, I have no idea, but I guarantee you if they answer that question, it's going to be for a political reason, and it's going to be for a reason that only Starfleet knows, and it's going
I
to be
know
for
it'll make sense. I'm sure it'll make sense because we've only seen really the Vonnegut side of the story, right? Like we haven't seen the Federation perspective yet. Again, it's stuff that hasn't even happened yet from the
right,
perspective of where the show takes place. So this is all
right.
stuff that's supposed to happen in the future. How distant that future is, I'm not sure. What was the vessel that they encountered? It was a Prometheus class, I think, or something like that, right?
Yeah. I think it was a Prometheus class.
So wasn't that an NX ship? It was an NX type of ship in
Yeah,
Voyager, right?
it looked like one.
Right? It's the one that like goes into multi-vector attack mode and splits and all that.
Yeah,
Do you have that model, by
yeah.
the way? No, you don't have the
No,
Prometheus,
I
or you
don't
do?
know.
Oh,
I do,
okay.
but I have the Orville up here, and I have the NX-01 up there as well.
I know you have the NX. I have the NX2 now. I'm an NX owner now as well. I don't have the Prometheus, but I think Trek on the Tube does. He loves all those ships from Voyager,
And,
so we'll ask him to
yeah.
show it off. But yeah, it was a cool ship, but I remember there was something about it that was it was like an NX class or something like that. So it's
Mhm.
interesting that it's part of the fleet in the future. It also makes sense as well.
One happy fleet.
um, Tara says, I assumed it was just standard Prime Directive BS, but they already made first contact. But yeah, it could be some kind of like,
You know what? She's
regulation
right.
BS.
It's probably Prime Directive BS because it's always about the Prime Directive. God damn it! It's always about the Prime
Because it's
Directive.
the prime, the name says it. It's the Prime Directive, of course. It's always about the gosh darn Prime
God damn it!
Directive.
Who wrote this? We should fire him. Rewrite
the I like that the diviner, as we talked about a little earlier, was actually all for the first contact and joining the Federation, but then was disappointed. And as we talked about earlier, it shows before he gets his memory back, he's actually kind of sweet on the Federation, on Starfleet, and is like, oh, they saved me and stuff like that. Um, and I guess this is a good time to talk about like the potential for the Vindicator here. I mean, even her name, she's the Vindicator. I will vindicate our people,
Oh,
and
she is
he's
gonna.
like she's not messing around. Like she's been among the Federation for at least 3 years, and she hasn't been swayed by them. Go ahead, go ahead.
I guarantee you that two things are gonna happen. First of all, it's your favorite thing. The diviner is going to die. I don't care. He's gonna die. And number two, the that woman, I forgot her name. You just said 2 seconds ago. That woman is going to become a serious
The
problem.
Vindicator.
The Vindicator is going to become a serious problem for Starfleet, Janeway, and our intrepid crew of children here. Because that woman is very, very dangerous. Because she has spent enough time with Starfleet to know their tactics, to know their politics, to know everything about them. So if she rises to a position of power, she's going to use everything that she learned while being embedded with Starfleet against them. And that's what makes her more dangerous. And also, she is a true believer in the cause. And those people, true believers in what they want to accomplish, those are the people that are dangerous. She's very, very close to being, she has the, to me, she has the hints of being ultra fanatic in her belief system. And those people are really dangerous.
Yeah, it's a good point. Fanaticism can lead to a blind kind of like philosophy of, of where she doesn't even consider other people as being, sapient
Yeah.
even, or like
Yeah.
worth having rights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
also fueled by the destruction of her homeworld. I mean, they were in
They,
a desperate situation. So her extremism comes from really talking about trauma and preludes. Like these two, the diviner and the Vindicator are the last kind of this is their
vestiges.
last effort. This is the last vestige, and this is their last effort, to do this. I thought it was interesting that she was even like she referred to the Federation as a primitive coalition or something like that. So it's interesting, like how Solom. I want to know more. I think we will find out, but I want to know. I definitely am more interested in Solom and like how what's their deal and everything like that, because there's a lot of little drops here and there that kind of suggest stuff interesting.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be very, very interesting if moving forward they do more development on her and her society. Although I do think that they may not do that, and they may just focus on the kids, which will be really unfortunate because what they've done so far with it with their backstory is excellent. I wasn't really expecting Aaron and the other writers to go this deep on the villains and make them so morally questionable because
yeah, it's
essentially, yeah, because essentially they're space terrorists. And
a little, but it's something we kind of have been dealing with in society, so it makes sense that it would, for lack of a better word, infiltrate our fiction as well and be a part of it.
right,
Like I think that
right,
extremism is on the rise, especially here in the United States. So it's an interesting
right,
like thing to put into a show for all ages, because it's an idea that definitely needs to be thought of. By the way, I don't know if you know this little tidbit, but every writer in the writers room had a hand in writing this episode. So the way they did
oh,
it
cool,
is
I didn't
like
know that.
they all like kind of did their own take, came together,
Mhm.
and like
Smashed it up.
put it together. Yeah, so it's a pretty cool thing. I think that's a
Yeah,
really neat way of writing
yeah, that's not the
as a
first time,
team, that
right?
is. No, I forget what the
No,
other
they've done it
episode
before.
was that they all. Yeah, this is not the first time, but I love it. I love hearing about stuff like that. It's cool, and it shows like you said, this episode does have a lot of stuff that like
In it.
especially
Yeah.
with the in it, and like lots of cool different perspectives that kind of like beautifully come together, much like Janeway's listening to Chopin in the beginning, and like it takes like a conductor to bring an orchestra together. So it felt like that, and it felt like it played beautifully as far as I'm concerned. But I was just gonna say, like, so they go through this anomaly, and I'm curious also about a couple things. I know each of the Vonnegut soldiers, if you will, that go back in time also go back in time with a spaceship and a dreadnought unit. Um, and we know this is not the same dreadnought unit, obviously, that the diviner had, but it seems to know that things like how the Medusan influence over the diviner occurred and stuff like that. The Medusan mind thing happened and stuff like that. So I wonder if the dreadnought units somehow are networked, or can communicate with each other. We know that Dreadnought could do stuff like that, because didn't Dreadnought transfer himself all the way from like Tars Lamor or whatever into
He
the
did.
Protostar? Yeah. So
He
like,
did.
so yeah, yeah, yeah. So it could actually be like much. There could just be one Dreadnought consciousness that like travels back, and that like kind of somehow. Yeah, it's a very
Yeah.
interesting thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it travels back and forth, right?
Or simultaneously as a computer would.
Right.
Computers don't need to be at one place; they can be at multiple
No.
places. But yeah, I thought that was really cool as well. Um, but let's see, anything else? Oh yeah, what did you think of finally seeing? There's a big one. Finally seeing Chakotay. He had his crew member who's an avian species.
No, that
I
was
forget
just
which
cool.
one. Yeah, which it's classic TOS or sorry, the animated series species. I forget what they're called at the top of my head right now. But yeah, what did you think of the whole thing where he actually like like he actually foils the Vonnegut and he's all like smug about. I love that little moment where he's just like kind of like holding on to his guy and he's just kind of like ha ha ha.
Well, it's, it was really it was really cool seeing Chakotay back again. Like it's no secret that Voyager isn't my favorite Star Trek, but if Voyager's good for one thing, Voyager is good to put on just to put on and just to relax. So with that being said, it was really nice to see somebody from those days and somebody who's entertained me for hours on end, just walking and talking about procedure and talking about the Maquis and all this stuff. So it was just a delightful thing to see him again and to see him foil the bad guy's plan by doing what he did in this episode, which is great.
Totally. Terra, different avian species, but yeah, similar. I by the way, I love those guys from Lower Decks too. Rada is my new space husband, but here, hold on, let me find out what they were called. There's two I think that appear in the animated series Star Trek, the animated series. All right, so is it safe to say that Chakotay is still in the future though, or do you think he made his way back into the past as well? I don't think he has. I think he's still in the future, so he's stranded out
Yeah,
there in the future, which is
yeah,
interesting. What do you think's going to
yeah.
happen? What is your prediction about Chakotay and his crew? Are they going to make it back, or what do you think?
I think. Well, first of all, I don't think they're gonna make it back. I think somebody's gonna go and get them, and that somebody is it's either gonna be Janeway or it's gonna be our crew. But I think our crew is gonna go back and get him wherever the hell he is, and bring him back to present day.
So that do you think that's going to happen this season? Like, do you think that's something we're going to see? Like, because that's
No,
interesting because that
no.
means we're going to probably travel to the future at some point in the show this season
What
if we're going to see
what
Chakotay again.
what? Yeah, what I think is gonna happen is that before the end of the season, this diviner stuff is gonna wrap up. Janeway is going to finally talk to our crew and get it straight. And Janeway is going to find a way to use what is in the protostar to go and get Chakotay, and the crew is going to come along with Janeway just because Janeway needs their ship to go and get Chakotay.
Interesting.
I think
Um,
I think that initially Janeway is going to try and talk them to get the hell off of the ship, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think that Dal and everybody is going to stand their ground and say, "Two, you need us to go and get him."
well, I guess that's a good point. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going to
And
happen. I'm
also,
very
also another reason for them to stay is that they know how the ship works.
Oh yeah, that's
So
true. That's true. But I
if
think
they
also Janeway knows how the ship works. I feel like she was crucial
that
to
is
its
true.
development somehow. So
Oh yeah, that is right. She
yeah. So
was,
by the way, the species from
but
the
I could
animated series is called the Skor, Skor or Skor. And then they have another species called the Aurelians, which are also from the animated series. But then the ones from Lower Decks are called the Arior. So that's the thing. Hey, PJ from Boatwreck is here. So PJ says, "Are you in a new room, Starfleet Boy? Same room, different angle." By the way, I just saw the Equinox episode two-parter the other day, and I don't like how that guy Max calls B'Elanna BLT. Uh,
That
There
guy,
is.
that guy,
This could be
that
true
guy
though. Maybe
is an
Milano will
idiot.
show up.
That guy's
That
an
guy was.
idiot.
Poor Captain Ransom. Do you think Captain Ransom's related to Commander Ransom by any chance?
Uh, no, not really. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
think so.
I don't think so either, but who knows? I mean, they've got the same last name, although a lot of people do. I mean, Smith's a common last name as well. What else? Let's see. Anyways, Chakotay's in the future with his crew. That's the situation as far as we know. He's still there. We have the diviner and um, uh, uh, the vindicator back in the past trying to prevent first contact from happening. Things are coming to a head. We got one more episode to talk about, but that we're talking about tonight on Text Trek, so check that out. But before we end, I guess we'll end on the note of, well, Admiral Janeway's almost figuring things out, and she goes to confront the
It's
diviner.
about time. Come on, dude. Come
And
on,
he knocks her
Catherine.
out, and he's
Get on
saying,
it.
I'm doing what must be done to protect the mission."
Oh,
So
get on it. All due respect to the Prodigy writers, but if the Voyager writers were doing this show, Catherine would have figured this crap out a long time ago. I'm just gonna say that.
that's because it was a different episodic format, and she
I
had to
know,
figure
I
it out
know,
in
I
one
know,
episode.
I know.
By the way, I am also very concerned about the Admiral Tara. By the way, I have to ask you this question because I agree. I think with Fathery. Fathery was saying that of the new Star Trek shows, Star Trek Prodigy seems to be handling the job of doing a season long story pretty well so far. I think and I agree. I think they're doing really good.
Um, yeah, yeah. Well, funny enough, I think funny enough, I think they're the ones doing the best handling a continuing story, and the way that they're feeding it all out is paced really well. But the thing against Prodigy has nothing to do with Prodigy. The way that CBS decided to distribute the show was ridiculous. I think that Aaron Walke and everybody at Star Trek Prodigy got done dirty with that, because they should have finished their first season a long time ago.
I don't know. You mean you don't like how it was split up into two parts?
Yeah, 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 yeah. That was ridiculous. I was like,
If I recall correctly, Benny Bon was saying it's because animation takes a lot longer to complete. It's
right,
mostly
right, right.
the production. Yeah, I think that's interesting that you think it's doing dirty. I think it's not. I think it's great that we got like a little bit first and then a little bit later. I think watching 20 consecutive weeks might have been a little
Too
bit
much.
too much. Yeah, I think I like the way they did it. And they've done it before. Remember Disco did like 6 episodes, took a little break, and then came back. Like, I think modern television does this. And I will just say one more thing. Like, I've heard this, and maybe I was even guilty of thinking this, but like, I was like, oh yeah, old Star Trek, they did like 26 episodes a season. But you know what? Like, I think the quality of the stories at 10 episodes today is a lot, it's very similar, and I think it's actually even better maybe. I think like some of these stories
Mm.
develop a lot better than like, of course they didn't have like, like the kind of continuity or like, like a serialized format back then except for maybe Deep Space 9. But Father made a statement last night on Twitter Spaces which I kind of agree with. I feel like doing 26 episodes in such a short period of time kind of burns out your writers, and I'd rather not have my Star Trek writers burned out because I like it when writers tell stories over a long period of time. And so I think it's great that, we'll have, these writers sticking around because they're not going to burn out and feel like they have to, like take a sabbatical or anything, even though they deserve it. They should take sabbaticals anyways. But I think the new format of television works a lot better in terms of, just overall.
Yeah, I mean, look. It's no secret that I've had a lot of issues with modern Star Trek in the way that they've chosen to tell a story. But with that being said, I do agree with you and Fathery that modern television offers the writers to tell a more cohesive, complete story from start to finish. The problem is they need to have a good idea of what they want to go and the road that they want to go down before they start doing anything with the shows. Because if they go into one of these shows having an idea of where they want to go but not know where they're going to end, that's where the problems begin.
Was that you taking a jab at Star Trek Picard season 2 or season 1?
Uh, yeah, kind of. Very lightly, very lightly,
I think they
tiny bit,
know where
tiny.
they're going most of the time. It was surprising to me to learn that they didn't exactly know where they're going in Star Trek Picard season 1. But I have a lot of I think for the most part all the other shows do reflect. Maybe Disco might have been finding its way as well. I think Disco was another
No,
show.
oh yeah, no. Well,
But
disco.
but
Uh,
sometimes that happens. Like sometimes the show ends up where it doesn't begin just because like I'll just cite like Star Trek of old. I feel like no one realized what a popular character Worf would become. That like people would latch onto that character so much, and so they started doing more Worf centric stories. So I think there's always been a relationship with the audience. Like you do your pilot season or your pilot, episodes or whatever, and then you start hearing feedback, and then you can't help but like evolve the show. And I think what's interesting about modern Star Trek is we see that interchange or exchange or relationship happening so much faster than we've ever seen it happen because of things like the internet and stuff like that, where the show's creators and makers get all of our takes as is happening right now. Whenever they
yeah,
have
yeah,
access to
yeah,
it a lot
yeah,
quicker. Yeah, so
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
different
Poor Terry
landscape, but
Metalis.
I'm getting used to poor Terry Dallas. I'm getting used to it though, and I think the writers are too because as you see, they're so generous and gracious, and also the filmmakers in general, the
Yeah,
people, all the people working behind it, they're so
yeah.
gracious and generous, like answering the same questions, like Starfleet Boys
Again and
questions
again
over
and
and
again.
over again and stuff like that. Um, all right, so I guess we did a good job talking about this episode. I think we covered everything. Is there anything we missed, Marcelo, that you wanted to talk about?
No, I don't think so. Well, the thing that I wanted to talk about the most is actually in the
The next
next
episode. Oh
episode.
well, if you're free on Saturday, you're welcome on. You can come back and talk about it at that point. Tara says, I have no complaints about Prodigy. It's too damn good for me to question how they're doing administrative stuff. Yeah, I agree. Also, we get new Trek every few months now. Picard will be back in February. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Anyways, but
Also,
yes,
Terry. Well,
Metalis.
he's not. Yes, Terry Metalis. He's not
I
going to
love that you're
screw
on a
up
first name
Picard.
basis. I am too. It's
He's not going. to...
fine.
No, and
He
yeah.
loves to be called Terry.
You know why?
Go ahead.
You know why? Because he look of all the new Star Trek creators, and I've met some amazing new people that are involved with current Star Trek, but he's the one that's been the most responsive to my issues with Picard, and he's been very very
Like
kind to
he
me.
responds to you, like he'll like say, "Okay, Marcelo, that's awesome."
No, I mean, no, I mean,
uh,
look. He
I
doesn't have
have
to
to
give me the time
say,
of the day. Yeah.
I have to say, Terry Metalis, super. I admire him, and he's super impressive. But Aaron Walkie goes in and answers like deep questions on tweets when people are like wondering about this and that. So I think all of them kind of do. Well, Aaron and Terry are the most engaged. I think with fans.
And
I think it's
also,
pretty
Mike
cool.
McMahon's pretty good too.
Yeah, he's good too. Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes.
that's what I'm talking about. All of them. Michelle Paradise shares those awesome tweets too. They all like Akiva Goldsman's not too active on Twitter, but
Okay.
he's. I think every one of
He's
the
around
showrunners
somewhere
and
sometimes.
folks are just really again, just impressed by the generosity. So kudos to you guys. Also, Star Trek Prodigy did get nominated for an Emmy. So if you for animation best animated series.
No,
So
isn't it? Wasn't that Lower Decks?
no, it's
Wasn't it?
Prodigy if I'm not
Oh,
well, hold on.
oh,
I'm not
is it?
mistaken. I know
I,
it.
okay.
And you can watch that tomorrow. Aaron Walkie, speaking of Aaron Walkie or Aaron, he posted a link to it on his Twitter page on how you can watch the stream for that event. It's
All
gonna
right,
be
it
very
is
cool. We're
Prodigy.
all rooting for Prodigy. I hope they
Thought
win.
it was
What's
Lower
that?
Decks. I thought it was Lower Decks, but okay.
Maybe Lord X has a nomination too, but the only nomination I heard about was for Prodigy.
Right, right. Because Aaron went ahead and tweeted it.
So I'm gonna give this episode another 10. I loved hearing the preludes or seeing the preludes of these characters' stories. Again, really well done. Just an awesome episode for having all the writers be involved. It was like very cohesive and consistent. It felt like there's definitely one strong voice, as there always seems to be. And yeah, kudos. Also, I can't emphasize enough. I meant to say this in the last episode, but the music in Prodigy is awesome. The music in all of modern Star Trek is awesome. It's like cinematic. It's like you're watching a movie level experience every week, and it's pretty awesome. So. Donnie in the audience gives it an 8 out of 10. Marcel, let's hear your rating for this episode.
This episode with the last episode that we talked about eons ago, like an hour ago, this episode gets a push with the last episode. I thought there were some really well done emotional themes explored in this episode that really captivated me and really gave me a sense of fulfillment while I was watching the funnier parts of this episode and the more fun and cheek parts of this episode. So, with that being said, from 1 to 5, this episode gets a 5 for me. Very solid.
Solid 5. Yay. All right, great. I'm just going to raise my rating to an 11 so we can bring the average up a little
You
bit.
always do that to me.
I know I do. I'm so bad. Such a bad. Starfleet Boy's a bad character here
Oh my
with the
god!
ratings. I like to manipulate those ratings.
Yeah. Is there gonna be a day when you don't do that to me? It's like I'll die of shock if there's one day when you don't do
The
that.
audience ratings count too, by the way, so the average is going up without me intervening, so that's good. Tara gives this one a 9. I'm not a huge fan of ratings. Me neither. It's just a fun thing we do on Starfleet Boy. It doesn't mean we don't really hold ourselves. Trek on the Tube's the only one who has like real rating system with like actual like, you know, things. Maybe sorry, I should
Charts
take
and
that back.
graphs and
Maybe
pens and
yeah, like
papers.
maybe Marcelo does. Well, yeah, there we go. Maybe Marcelo does too. I don't know, but at least Starfleet Boy,
Actually,
I just go from the gut.
yeah. When no, when I reviewed Strange New Worlds on my channel, I actually gave it letter grades.
Oh, really? That's right. I remember
Mhm.
that actually. Um, Marcelo, thank you so much for helping me get caught up. It's such a relief. It feels so
Yeah, it
good to be
was
caught up, but it also feels really good to have had great discussions with you and the audience. Thank you, Tara. Thank you, Donnie. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Jill. And thank you. I think I saw earlier, and I meant to say hello. That we had. Who did we have in here earlier that I meant to say hello to? Was it Ruben? Yeah. Oh, and I'm just scrolling back, and I just noticed Stress Free K has been here too, so that's cool. But yeah, Ruben was here earlier, and so was Stress Free K. So thanks for tuning in, and of course, as we've already said, thank you to Aaron who pops in every now and then and gives us like really cool updates and information,
factoids.
factoids and all. Well, he's the writer, so he's one of the writers, so
Yeah,
he knows,
yeah, right.
which is pretty
He
awesome.
should
You
definitely
better
give us
know.
factoids.
So Tara is asking, when are we doing the next episode? So these catch-up sessions have been kind of random and impromptu. Just normally we go on and do Saturday discussions here, but tonight, if you don't know about Text Trek, Tara, go check out Text Trek
Oh,
on
come on.
YouTube.
Yeah,
That's Text Dash
everybody
Trek.
here knows about Tech
We're
Trick. I'm
small
sorry.
channels, Marcelo. Not everybody knows about us. You know, like we're not like these big channels out there that everyone knows about. But check out Text Trek tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be talking about the Ghost in the Machine episode, which is the latest episode. Text Trek. I do not know. So here, let me post it. It's Text dash Trek, like Texas. They're from Texas, y'all. so so we'll be in there. I'll be in there with Rachel tonight, I think, as well as Fathery. So come check that out. Oh, for some reason I can't post a comment. That's weird. Let's see what's happening. Anyways, sorry,
So,
I can't post on YouTube the
so what
text dash
time?
Trek.
So what time is Tech Trick kicking off tonight?
That's 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central. So tune into that. Then Starfleet Boy is back on Saturdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Normally we discuss Trek of Old, and we've been discussing the animated series, but we're taking a break from the animated series because I can't do too many streams right now because I'm already doing so many streams. So I decided to just pare down on the older Trek stuff for a second. So we're putting a pause on that, and 3 p.m. on Saturdays Now we're gonna finish off Prodigy, and then when Picard starts, we'll probably do them at 3 p.m. on Saturdays too. Thursday nights on Twitter, we do a Twitter Spaces discussion of the latest and greatest Trek that dropped. I did not do one this Thursday for Prelude, I mean for Ghost in the Machine, but we'll be back in action hopefully next Thursday. And then Sunday evenings at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can find me and Fathery as well as Captain Jack or Dom, who come on Trek Central, and then I occasionally pop in to other people's streams, like Marcelo, who does a cool movie watch along series with me,
Yeah.
Marcy, and
We're
Rachel,
gonna
and he
we're
hosts
gonna
that.
do the
Yeah,
next one in January. Is that right?
in January. Yeah, that's right. We're skipping
January.
December. See, everyone gets busy in December. It's just the thing that happens. But anyways, I hope that wasn't too much. I'll try to post on Twitter so that folks can see that schedule. But anyways, somehow y'all keep finding us, even though I do these random things. So thank you so much, Marcelo. Thank you, sir, so much for helping. Oh,
Thank
PJ
you.
was here
Yeah,
earlier
thank
too,
you.
so shout out to Boatwreck, and go check out his
Thank
channel,
you.
Boatwreck. But thank you so much for helping me out and getting me
No,
caught
thank
up. It
you.
feels so nice. Thank you, thank you,
It was
thank you.
wonderful to catch up.
What's where can folks find you? Can you tell us again?
Yeah, if you guys want to find out all the myriad of things I do, the best place to find me is on Twitter. I'm at CreekFanatic88, but I also want to promote tonight. I have an episode launching at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I I foolishly want to compete with a YouTube channel from Texas. So if you guys don't like those Texans over there, you guys are
Wow.
more than welcome. Sorry,
To
you
go to
can
the New
tell them this
York.
too. Yeah, yeah, I said, actually, you can tell them this too. I want to piss them off.
Wow.
So if you so if you guys don't like those Texans over there, you can come to my channel balloon at youtube.com/ Balloonhead Productions to come and watch me and my friend Geek and Review talk about Sherlock. So there you
Is
go.
that a live stream?
No, I know it's not a live stream; it's
Oh,
pre-recorded.
good.
So
So you can watch it later. You can watch Tech
yeah.
Check and watch
Oh,
Marcelo's
come
stream.
on! Come on! Come on! I am intentionally trying to sabotage one of our friends. It's not working.
The word is sabotage, by the way.
Sabotage.
Sabotage.
But
All right.
but in all seriousness, go and check out all our channels. We do some amazing stuff, and it was a pleasure being here today. And hopefully, we can do this again.
I agree, and whether or not it's amazing is a debate, but we love doing it anyways. So hey, there's that at least. Live long and prosper, and we'll see you next time.